was just telling you guys, I watched the audio commentary last night. It is so excellent. Everyone needs to watch it. But right off the bat, Kenneth Branagh making the little Easter egg in the beginning of the movie.
That literally is one of those crazy ideas we had sitting in the edit room as, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks before we locked picture, maybe. And we're talking about, you know, we needed a great actor to open the film that had the right gravitas and make you concerned for the Asgardians. And we went, well, why don't we just ask Branagh? He's one of the greatest actors in the world. So luckily he said yes.
Valkyrie escaped, Korg hopefully off, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp weren't there. Did you guys have to consciously cut down some of the characters to just get it down to that 23 heroes, that small number?
We did.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. Look, we love the idea of these movies being a culmination of everything that's happened in the MCU. So our ambition as storytellers is to tell the total story and include as many characters as we can. But of course, we want to find the right balance to make sure that we're not overreaching, so to make sure that like the story that we are telling with each character is really compelling and rich. So yeah, we do have to find that balance as we step through the script with Marcus and Feely.
There were early drafts of the script that were insane. I mean, it probably had 100 speaking parts. Different approaches to style in terms of execution. One even had Thanos narrating most of the movie, and you know, so it gave us a lot of flexibility in terms of how much story we would jam into it. But at a certain point, we, you know, get 20 pages into it, it was so dense, you're like, nobody's gonna be able to follow this. So we just started stripping things out.
It's so magnificent. Like, it's such a balance, if you will, of all the characters. But one of the things you guys mentioned is one of these insane things was that Captain America originally didn't show up until like well into the third act. Why did you decide to change that besides, you know, the obvious?
Basically because everybody at Marvel, I think other than Joe and I, they were mad at us because we were bringing him in the movie so late. And we sort of like, we thought it was the right spot to do it. But after a while, we kind of gave in to everybody's like, we need more Cap.
He had Thor's heroic entrance into the Wakanda battle. That was originally Cap. And that, you know, our thinking was that he was on the run, nobody could find him. And so, you know, we thought that it would be this really compelling way to use the character, especially because we were trying to thin the ranks out so that we could track everyone. And then we realized we had a really good spot to bring him in earlier in Scotland to save Vision and Wanda, and so we started moving around heroic moments for characters.
But that choice about bringing Cap in, that was sort of at the heart of what the premise of the movie for us was always that because of what happened in Captain America Civil War, because Cap and Tony had the falling out, because the Avengers are divided, this is why they lose to Thanos, because they're not together, they're divided. So playing with this idea of that it's hard for Tony and Cap to get back together on the same team, and having Cap sort of be late to the party because they are forced to live underground and in hiding from the government. Mm-hmm. That was always the basic premise of the movie for us.
I did love that, like, Tony has all the tech in the world and then just has this, like, flip burner phone.
Of course he does.
That's amazing.
Why wouldn't you? We're saying if Cap gave you a phone, you would carry it around, right?
Yeah. There was 2 moments that made me, like, spit out my drink watching the commentary, and one being that you guys acknowledged, like, a hot daddy Thanos. What did you guys make of all the reactions on the internet to hot Thanos?
I mean, listen, everybody's got their own thing.
Yeah, it's
you
like,
know,
he's a Tony Soprano type, you know. And it was, you know.
Yeah, we're supportive of whatever your fantasies about Thanos may be.
Yeah. No, I mean, but look, that again, we really wanted to make him a compelling, relatable character, and I think that's just maybe a dimension of the fact that he does feel he feels compelling to people.
I think that emotion can translate, or that passion can translate directly to Josh Brolin, because it really is Brolin. So, and we're mapping everything that he does. So I think that that's what's unique about that character, is that there really is the essence of an actor behind him, and that's what people are ascribing to it.
The whole third act, you know, takes place in Wakanda, and you guys were filming in tandem with Black Panther, right?
That's right.
I liked watching some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. It looked like Winston Duke, who plays M'Baku, kind of gave you guys some guidance in terms of like the chants and that kind of stuff. Like, how much did the actors lend to?
A ton.
Yeah.
I mean, really was like, we did a lot of work with Ryan Coogler prior to shooting and prior to him shooting. Once you start shooting, and we're both crazy at that point, there's so much going on that, but we got an incredible amount of information from him about how he was filling out Wakanda and the choices that he was making creatively, his team, his production designers, cinematographers. We knew a lot about where they're going. They had incredibly detailed maps, and the work that they put in that film was astounding. And so we could glean a lot of information, but obviously things grow and change as you're shooting. And we hadn't connected with each other for a while. So when the cast showed up, they had all new information for us. And we spent a lot of the morning that we were shooting that hilltop scene just talking through how things were developing on the movie, and the chants that were developing, and so Chadwick and Denai and Winston were all integral in everything that happened on that hilltop. We altered a lot of our choreography and rewrote it the morning of based on the ideas they were bringing.
Having seen Black Panther, are there certain characters that you're really hoping to kind of play with a little more in Avengers 4?
It's unfortunate because half of them are gone now.
Half of them are gone.
But of the ones that are left, Denai did, I thought, amazing work in Infinity War, and I think that character is very powerful and super compelling, and I think there's a lot of places to go with that character. So
her reaction to T'Challa was like probably the most heart-wrenching beyond Iron Man.
Yeah. Well, we always say it's her. Yeah, it's her. Her goal in life, her mission in life, is to protect the king.
Right. And
watching him evaporate in front of her, and there's nothing she can do about it, is really taking that source of pride for her, and that duty, and it challenges her in the most painful way possible.
Every Marvel movie has their little Empire Strikes Back tribute with the loss of the arm, and I really liked the Groot scene because it felt so seamless. I was curious what came first, the idea that someone had to lose an arm in the movie, or knowing that Groot was definitely going to contribute to Stormbreaker?
It was very much about Groot, focusing on Groot's growth arc in the film, again, going from this moment of being this very aloof, detached teenager who doesn't really, can't sort of tie into people around him on an emotional level, to slowly being drawn into the struggle that Thor is going through in the film, and realizing that at a very special moment, he needs to contribute to it. So that's really where that came from. Yeah.
That was such a cool moment. What do you guys think of people being so ticked off at Star-Lord?
Yeah, I mean, he's a character who's gone through a lot of pain, and he's lost a lot of people in his life. He was kidnapped by pirates when he was 10 years old, raised by pirates, lost his mother, had to kill his father, and in the movie, the love of his life is taken from him. So, if you can't understand someone making a human choice like that, then I don't know if you understand humanity very well. But he's just a flawed character, and that's what's so compelling about him.
And that moment is very emotionally truthful, and I think that's why we bought it in the moment, and that's why we loved it as a storytelling point, because it made it so vulnerable. But there's lots of choices that characters have made throughout the movie that sort of led them to lose. It wasn't simply that moment. If you go back to the end of Civil War, the entire rift between Cap and Tony is sort of a basis for why they lose in this film. Thor gets the jump on Thanos at the end of the film, but instead of sort of killing him quickly, he sort of does it in a way where he can draw out his revenge and engage with Thanos in a way that arguably gives him a window. Gave him a window to get away. So that's what we love about these characters. They're superheroes. They have amazing powers. But what makes them vulnerable is their emotional life and their emotional needs, and that's where things get complicated, and that's where the story gets really rich.
And I think it's important to have empathy in life as much as it's to have empathy for these characters. So, if anything, for us, making challenging choices and flawed choices with the characters is a way for us to convey the notion that empathy is critical to living life properly.
Yeah, somebody said in the commentary like that's what a human would do, and that like has been sticking with me all day. I'm like, yeah, like, absolutely. One of the most memed moments is also the most heart-wrenching, the moment with Peter Parker. Since you guys introduced Peter Parker and then taketh away, did you feel that sort of paternal thing over that character as well? Like, how heart-wrenching was that for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we have a really close relationship with Tom Holland. We love him. We fought for him in casting, and it was a very specific interpretation of that character because Spider-Man was my favorite character growing up, and I think over the years he had been, he'd been played by actors who were in their 20s rather than an actor who was a teenager, and I thought that was an integral part to translating Peter Parker to the screen was this sort of youthful buoyancy and this kid struggling with pimples while he was struggling with superpowers. So to take him on that journey, we knew it was going to be heartbreaking because it was heartbreaking for us. And on set, watching it, I was tearing up because again, that's my favorite character, and I had a feeling that it would translate in a way that would be very painful to everyone else. So I thought, well, if this is hurting us watching it, then we're going in the right direction, because this is the point of the film, is that sometimes villains win, and not everybody makes it out alive. So to take him on that journey was very special. Again, because he was such a favorite character.
But how do you give a lot of credit to Robert Downey too for drawing that out of him, out of Tom?
Yeah.
He's an amazing performer, Robert, as we all know. But one of his great gifts is his ability to engage other actors around him and sort of pull their best work out of them. And I think you can see the relationship between Robert and Tom the entire way through. Right? They've had that kind of dynamic between them.
But how do you feel that Tom Holland spent the entire press tour spoiling aspects of the movie over and over?
What are you going to do? He's sort of he's the nicest guy in the world, so you can never be punitive towards Tom Holland.
People made like supercuts of it as my favorite thing.
Of everything he spoiled?
Yeah.
Was it 15 minutes long?
Well, it was him and Benedict Cumberbatch just being like, oh.
By the way, Benedict is a great partner for him on the press tour, because Benedict is actually very good at dancing around spoilers and monitoring Tom Holland.
That's hard work.
Yes, it is.